Okay, so factorising is basically doing the opposite of multiplying out brackets. So you'd be given an expression, let's say we had something like 6x plus 8. And what you're looking for to factorise it is you're looking here to see are there any common factors in this one and also in the 8 one. So we're saying are there any common factors in both of those two things? And there are. They both are divisible by 2, aren't they? So we could take a 2 out of both, and if we divide both of these by 2, we get 3x plus 4. Okay, another example. If we had something like 2xy plus 3yz. So if we look at both of these, if we look at the number parts first, there's a 2 and a 3. So are there any common factors, any numbers that go into 2 and also into 3? No, apart from 1, but we can't take 1 out. Then look at the letters. Are there any letters that are in both, common to both? Hopefully you've spotted yes, there's a y in each of these. So what I can do is I can take the y out of my common as my common factor, and I'd be left with 2x plus 3z. So if I divide by y, or I take y out, this just becomes this 2x. And if I take this y out, that bit just becomes that 3z. Okay then, so if we had something like 9ab plus 12ac. So if we look at this one, if we start with the numbers then, we've got a 9 and a 12. So does anything go into 9 and 12? Yep, 3. So let's take a 3 as my common factor. And then also look at the letters. Are there any letters that are common in both? Yep, there's an A in both. So we can take an A out. So if we start with this one, if we've divided by 3, this 9 becomes 3. And if we've taken out an A or divided by an A, this letter part just becomes B. The plus is just because that's a plus, so that stays the same. If we're dividing by 3, that was a 12, so that now becomes a 4. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And if we're dividing by A and we're taking A outside the brackets, this becomes just C. Okay, slightly harder then. If you have something like 3x squared plus 2x, we want to factorise that. If you look at the numbers first, a 3 and a 2, there are no factors of 3 and 2 that we can take out. And then look at this one, an x squared and an x. Now just remember that this x squared you can think of as writing x times x, can't you? 3xx or 3x squared. So what common letters can I take out of both? Well, I could take out an x from both, couldn't I? So if I take out an x from both, put an x outside the brackets, 3x squared or 3xx divided by an x, or take an x away, I'd just be left with 3x. And 2x, if I factorise by an x or taken that x out, I'm just going to have a 2 in there for the second one. Okay, one final example then. Let's have a look at something like 10x squared plus 5x. So let's have a look at the numbers first. 10 and 5. What's the highest common factor, the biggest number that divides into 10 and 5? Well, that's 5, isn't it? 5 goes into 5 and 5 goes into 10. Then look at the letters. So any letters that go into both of these, yep, we can take an x out of both. X squared and x both divisible by x. And then let's work out what we'd have. So we did have 10x squared, so I've divided by this 5. So 10 divided by the 5 leaves me with 2. And I had x squared here, and I've divided by an x. I've put an x outside. So if we take an x away from that, we just get x plus, so on this side we had 5, we've divided by 5, so we get 1. And we had an x, but we've taken an x out, so do I have any x's left? No, I haven't. So that factorises into 5x brackets 2x plus 1. And if you want to for these, you can do a really quick check at the end. So from here, you can do a really quick check that if you multiply this bracket out again, that you get this answer. So we can double check in this one if we like. So if we do 5x times 2x, well 5 times 2 is 10, x times x is x squared, plus 5x times 1 is just 5x. And that is exactly the same as what we started with over here. So we must be correct.